Hey you Mexicans, welcome back to this new video where today we're going to be looking at a scenario where what if civilization started over. So in the previous video we saw, well, none of this is really important. What matters is, the Irish have started colonialism. But quick little thing before we actually begin with the video. So provinces are actually pretty up to date now. And, like, this is going to be how provinces remain until colonialism is at its peak. Because I really don't feel like coloring provinces for all the colonies. But yeah, every single province of every country besides the colonial ones is complete. So this is going to be how the provinces will look for a bit. Now, note to self, these can adjust as, like, wars happen and stuff, but we don't need to worry about all that right now. Which reminds me, we will continue with this colonial plot, but this is how provinces look. This is how it looks right now. It's all Eurasia. And we see Japan, we can see the outline of Korea, you can see all that. This is like mainland Eurasia and parts of Northern Africa. Which reminds me, we will start in Africa a bit. Just because, well, we see something happening here. So we see the Persendians going through the Indian Ocean. They go ahead and first land in, what is this, Socotra? They do take this because it's a close proximity. Frick. Yeah, they do take this. But then they land in Somalia. Frick, I forgot the color. Forgot to change this. Okay, but yeah, they take Socotra and parts of Somalia. So begins the colonialism in Persendia. They take over Somalia, but this is not the only colony they take. As they also landed in Tanzania, they discover in the entirety of it pretty much. Especially along the areas connecting to their Somalian colony. They're never going to connect that colony though. Mostly because they don't really want to. This is gonna be like Tanzania and Somalia are just gonna be their own separate trading hubs. But yeah, they land over here. And pretty soon the economy of this grows to be pretty big. It goes from parts of the Congo to parts of Zambia. And then up close to Somalia, but it doesn't ever connect. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think the gap should be a little bigger. Yeah, that's better. But that's also not the last part where they land at. They land over near these islands and take these islands for themselves, discovering them and eventually colonizing them. Jesus, man. And then they go into the northern part of Madagascar. Actually, all of Madagascar. And they progressively just, yeah, they take the entire thing. So yeah, we see Persendia's empire growing into the western side of the Indian. Hold on, I'll be back. So, yeah, it's the next day. I forgot to record the rest of this video, so I'm gonna continue this. Now, I also want to make a wave reaction video, and since that's a video that's going to be happening at 4, then yeah. I think we left off with the Prescindia colonization of Tanzania and Somalia and Madagascar. So, now we're going to actually focus on the Irish colony here. So, they will discover the rest of Nova Scotia and go up into the rest of Quebec. Along with that, they will discover the rest of Greenland and all these islands. All of them, yes. Which also means that they push into the Nunavut area just to get that squared away. So yeah, they discovered what is essentially Canada. Or at least like eastern Canada. And so of course, the Irish will colonize this. It's a given. So they will colonize this eastern part. And along with that, the rest of Greenland. But pretty soon we see all the powerful countries in Europe get over to there. So the countries that will be colonizing in this world are Iberia, Iberia. The Dutch, which have an access point here, and Galicia, which has an access point from Galicia. I think Catalonia has an access point from here, so they can go as well. So yes, these 4 right here will be colonizing. So the Iberians will head due west. They go down, real down. So down that they don't even land in North America. But they land over here in the Guyana region. And what is essentially northern Brazil. And the reason why they landed there is because they went for Morocco. But yeah, they will colonize a little bit of this. For now, they don't do much in there, but the Galicians will be headed over there too. Someone forgot to erase the line between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. This isn't my map, so don't blame me. But regardless of that, Galicia goes over there too. They go southwest, porting in these islands, which were actually owned by Galicia, by the way. These ones are owned by Iberia, but they go down, and then they make it over to this part of the Caribbean, or pretty much all the Caribbean, essentially. So yeah, they will colonize this entire region, as they're the closest ones that got to it. They also colonized a little bit of Venezuela. But they don't know much about that. The Dutch are next. They head out. And since they're the most powerful, they're gonna get a pretty good chunk of it too. A bigger chunk than everyone except for the Irish because they were first. But they land in northern Florida and pretty much take the rest of Florida before the Galicians. So yeah, they discover up to the Mississippi River and past it. But they also discover the rest of like the South, essentially, or what was the South. the Irish go ahead and discover the rest of New York and connect up with these Dutch explorationists. They discover the rest of the East Coast before they stop due to deserts. But the Iberians go down into more of Brazil. That's just a given. And the Galicians go into the rest of, well, Colombia, essentially, and parts of Ecuador, or actually all of Ecuador. They go into all that, go up into Central America, and pretty much discover up to the Yucatan. From here, they decide to stop, and we will see these lands get updated with new colors. So the Galicians will get this much. This will connect with the Venezuelan holdings, which will be a little more Colombian too. The Iberians will colonize more of Brazil. Give me a second. Yeah, so they will colonize more of this coastal land of Brazil, along with some inner stuff too. Not all of it, because the Amazon exists. The Dutch will kind of remain in like the south a little bit. The Catalonians ultimately decide that they aren't really going to colonize due to the fact that they don't really support the idea of colonization. Not really. Galicia is crazy, but they're not, and they really just don't. They really just don't want to be a target with the Iberians who are colonizing Brazil. So yeah, they say nope and get out of that. Now, actually, no, they changed. They say that, but then they realize that, this is a new world anyway. So they're being contradictory, and they go over. They go over and colonize because they want to now. And they land over in southern South America, specifically near Iberia. They do not care anymore. That might cause a rivalry between Catalonia and Iberia, which probably won't end well, but they do discover a lot more of South America in the end, until they pretty much discover all of it. Which reminds me, South America is going to be only colonized by 3 powers. In the original timeline, it was only 2, but this time it's going to be really close with 3 powers colonizing South America. And it is this timeline, though, it's 4. That's a lot, but here it's going to be similar numbers to it is WICSO. So it's going to be only 3 in this area. So the Iberian parts of Brazil will go to the Brazilians will go to Iberia. This part will kind of go to the Galicians, and then the Catalonians will get everything kind of south of like this line. So like they pretty much take like a majority of like Argentina and like Chile in that area. They kind of take all of it too. The rest of these areas, though, with no other ones to occupy, it does go to Brazil. Which in the end, this rounds off South America. Yep. Only 3 colonial powers here. Now, the Koreans are like, hey, we should test how round the Earth is. Also, before I do that, though, I'm going to just change the Iberian color just for the sake of making sure that we don't have repeating colors here. So let's see. Kinda, but it looks way too similar to one specific one. That's actually better. Yeah, we can do that one. So yeah. So the Koreans decide to go east. But before they do end up doing that, they will kind of port over in Taiwan, go south a little bit, and discover the rest of the Philippines. They colonize this, of course. It should be a given. But anyway, with the discovering of the Philippines, they then go east. They go so east that they go around and back to the other side of the world. Which then they discover Hawaii. And of course they port there. And then they go kind of northwest because the wind currents take them there. And they land over in the Los Angeles region. This will be important later on in the series, as Los Angeles will kind of become a bigger hub than it is in real life. How? Find out soon. But yeah, they do discover the California area. And their landing is going to be in the Los Angeles area. The capital of this colony will pretty much be in the Los Angeles area. But yeah, they go ahead and discover the stuff around it. So yeah, they discovered the rest of Baja California and this western part of Mexico. And this part of Washington. So yeah, this is what the discoveries on Iberia, with Iberia, I mean not Iberia, Korea are looking like. Well, the Galicians explore around here. The Dutch explore here. And well, as you can see, the distance between these explorations are narrowing. But of course, then we see the Irish explore into more like Western Canada, because like yes, that's what they wanted to do. They discover so far east that the Russians were already exerting their control over here. Which does remind me, though, they will go into parts of it, just like the original Russia did, like the Russia in our timeline. Yeah, they will go into parts of this, but it's not going to be in full because they're not really focused on colonialism as much as everyone else. But we see that the Irish close up distance with Alaska, and instead of all of Alaska going to Russia, it'll like kind of be a split situation between the Irish and Russia. So it's not like Alaska won't be in full, but it won't be too small either. It's really weird. And I will kind of fix this border because yeah. But regardless of that, we do see the Irish going into these northern, like these Great Lake parts, because like Great Lakes equals power, and they will like eventually close off the distance over here. But eventually, the Galicians meet with the Korean explorers. The Irish meet with the Korean explorers eventually, and then ultimately it meets up everywhere. Where eventually, all of North America will get fully discovered, and over time we will see the colonization of this land, with the Irish going down over here and wrapping up right here. The Koreans will kind of do something in the western areas. Not really doing a full thing, but it's really significant. The colonies and the Dutch colonies will do their best impression of the U.S., which they will do well on, especially because the majority of it will be under the Dutch. And we will kind of see like a treaty go with the Irish fixing up this Delaware part a little bit. But then as for the rest of this Mexican land, it will just go over to the Galicians. And so the entire Americas is now colonized. We only have Africa and Oceania left. If you know anything, though, Africa will be next after colonization of the Americas. So, yeah, with that being said, that ends this video because I've got another video to record. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a new video. Peace out.